Good afternoon and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Andrew and I'll be taking you through some new features that have been added to the MiScore app, and I'll be explaining how the configuration works and also how it views for the MiScore users. Now, as usual, the webinar will be recorded and uploaded to our website. Generally, it'll be available from tomorrow, hopefully. And the easiest way to find our webinar recordings is to go to our help page and type in webinar in the search box there, and it'll appear there for you, along with all of the previously recorded webinars that we have done on various topics covering the MiClub and my membership systems. And we'll also be taking questions during the webinar. Mackenzie is available on the chat. So if you have a question during the recording, send it through. Mackenzie will do his best to answer. And anything else I can get to at the end. Just a quick overview. We'll be covering some cool new features. The front, middle, and back distances for MiScore will be the first one. Then we'll look at an alternative high-resolution GPS software for the MiScore app. There's also hole notices and notifications, and then we'll finish with some user stats and swing thoughts. So getting started on the front, middle, and back distances. Most of you will be familiar with this screen here, where the app will show the user the distance to the middle of the green for every hole that they're playing. Now we do have a new option here, which will show the user the middle, but also the front and the back distance. And the user has two options to toggle it. Sorry, actually, before we get into that, some clubs already have this feature enabled. So if you're a club that has a subscription, a club subscription with us, you'll already have this feature in MiScore. For any other club that doesn't have this yet, if you're on a user-based subscription, we can enable this for you. All you have to do is send through the request to our support team, and we have to do a little bit of configuration in the back end of the system. Normally takes us give or take a few days, and then it becomes available in the app. And from the user's point of view, they only need to have the geolocation setting enabled in MiScore. And I've just got a screenshot here. So they go into the settings and you'll see that's the only setting that needs to be switched on. However, if you're finding any members are not able to see the distance even after they've already switched that on, it could be due to a setting in their iPhone or Android phone. And the setting is the same for both. So on the left here, we have the Android version. On the right, the iPhone version. They just need to make sure that they've got the location enabled and also precise location, which will give them the specific distances or specifically accurate distances for MiScore. And if you are getting stuck there at all, or the members getting stuck, they can contact us and we can talk them through the steps. And once it's working, they have two options for the distance. Firstly, at the top of the MiScore scoring screen, they'll see the middle distance as they're playing. If they tap on it, it then expands the window down. And now you've got, firstly, length of the hole, distance to the back, middle, and the front. And if they want to see the satellite map version of it, they just have to tap on the map icon at the bottom there. And you'll see now it brings up the graphic display also with the distances, and they can toggle between the two. Cool. So that's all for the front, middle, back. Now, Metro Maps is a new feature that we have available. By default, everyone will be on the Google Map display for MiScore. So what we do is we take the latest version of the Google Map satellite image and we import it into our system, which then displays in MiScore. However, Google can be a bit slow in updating any changes. So if you're a club that has frequent course changes, you might find that in MiScore it's not reflecting the current version of your course. So we have another option called Metro Maps, and you will notice that the resolution of their maps are quite good and probably, well, they are much better than Google, as you can see in the photos. So if you would like to upgrade to Metro Maps, you can contact your account manager. If you're not sure who your account manager is, you can send through a query to sales@miclub.com.au, or you can contact the support team and we'll put you in touch with your account manager, and then we can go through the steps. We can compare the current version of Metro Maps to see if there are any changes versus Google, and then you can decide if you would like to proceed. Now, the previous feature we spoke about, the front, middle, and back, is not affected either way. So if you decide to stay with Google Maps, front, middle, and back will work, and it works equally as well on Metro Maps. Now, whole notices is a new feature that has been added, and it gives you the ability to add a pop-up message that appears to every MiScore user as they're swiping between holes. And you can have a mixture of image, logo, text, and also links. There is a character, limit of 256, and you can add only the one image per notice. And you can, as we had in the previous example, you can add a clickable link that will take the user to a website. Also, for example, in this case, it's a form that they can fill out. Now, this part of the system you do have access to. And if you haven't seen this before, please contact the support team and we'll help guide you through the setup and show you where you can access the notices. And just one more detail that's important is that the notice is linked to a particular course setup in your system. So for example, if you have your standard 18-hole GA course, you link the notice to a hole on that course. So in this example, we've linked it to hole 6. That means anytime you play a comp on the GA course, that notice automatically will be added to hole 6. You can duplicate the notice across holes. So if you want the notice to appear after every hole, you can do that. Or you can have unique notices for each hole. It's up to you. And this is how it appears in the app. The user is on hole 5. They finish, they swipe to the next hole, and there's the notice that appears there. Now, MiScore notifications are not a new feature. They have been around for a little while. It's where you can send a direct message to the MiScore users app. However, I'll just go through it for any clubs that are not using it. And there's also been a few questions recently about setting up admin users to be able to send the notifications. So we'll go through that now. This is just showing you on the phone how the user is notified that they have notifications pending with that little icon there. Now, in the back end of the system, this is the notifications dashboard. You can target either players that are booked in the timesheet. So you can target the whole field at the start of play, for example. You can get players who are registered in the comp only and ignore anyone else who isn't registered, or anyone who's started scoring as well is another level deeper down you can go. You can also target groups and individuals. So if you only need to send a message to the first group or one group in the middle of the field, you can do that as well. Now, from the admin point of view, if you haven't configured notifications yet, you will see this QR code appear on the page. And what is needed is to scan this QR code into an authenticator app. And I've got a few examples here. You can pretty much use any one available from your app store. I generally recommend Microsoft Authenticator or Google. They're probably the two well-known ones, but you can use any of them. And once you scan that code into the app, it links it to your phone. Now, important, and this is a question we get frequently, if you have multiple staff members that may need to send the notification, before scanning the code for the first time, take a photo of the code, then scan it. What that allows you to do is then share the photo with other staff members who can scan that photo into their Authenticator app. So that allows you to have multiple users who can send the notification at any time. If you miss that step, if the first person scans the Authenticator and they forgot to take a photo, you can contact us and we can reverse that and allow you to set that up again for multiple users. And this is an example of then how it appears. So once you've scanned the code to your Authenticator, you go to send the message. The system then prompts you for the code, which you get from the Authenticator app. Once you pop the code in, the message gets sent out. And inside the MiScore app, it kind of depends on the settings for each user, how they've got notifications set up on their phone, but they'll either get an alert or they'll get this little icon here in their settings menu to notify them that there's a new notification. And then once they tap on it, they then see the list there. They tap on the latest one sent, and then it gives them the message that you need to deliver. Okay, and we will finish up now with some user stats. So you may have seen with the launch of the new version of MiScore that there's a lot more stats tracking and a lot more analytics that the users can play around with. So this is just an example here. If you tap on stats for the round, it gives you a full breakdown. And where that's set up in the app is inside the settings. So if the user goes into the menu, down into settings and into the putts and stats area, firstly, if they want to track stats, they just toggle these two options here. If they don't want to track stats, they can deselect those two and it won't record anything for them. But here's an example of when they do want to record the stats, it then gives them the option, and I haven't shown the full list here, I've just shown you the first four, but they can go into detail of which particular stats they want to track. And then once they're on the scoring screen, it will then, based on their selection, it's giving them the option to input whatever they wanted to there. They can then see after their round by going into their dashboard. Now, to set up their dashboard, the easiest way is to go back to the main part of the dashboard, scroll to the bottom, and selecting customize widgets allows the user to pick which of those they want to display on their dashboard page. And then after they finish their round and they've input their stats for that round, it automatically gets updated and they have a visual display here of everything. And we'll finish with Swing Thoughts. So Swing Thoughts is a fun little feature that we added, and it's in the menu. Scroll down to Swing Thoughts. It allows the user to add up to 5 separate thoughts. So you add them in there, whatever you want to remind you or pump you up before your game. Hit save, and then once you go through to the scoring screen, it pops up with a little card display there, and then you can X out of it to start your round. And there is also an option to view this from the menu. So during your round, if you need to be reminded or you'd like to see the swing thoughts that you recorded, just tap on the more icon at the bottom there, and it will pop up with those same thoughts that you defined there. Cool. So that's it for the presentation, and I'll just check if we have any questions. Give me a sec. With the errant ball notices. Okay, so Jenny's asking about the errant ball notice. So that was just an example, Jenny. If you have an errant ball notice set up for your club, we can help you add it as a link in MiScore so that the members can find it while they're playing. So we don't actually have a feature called errant ball notice set up in our system anywhere. That was just an example of how you can use MiScore to give them that notice so they can input an errant ball. But if that's something your club is already using, we can help you configure it for MiScore, but it's not something that is inbuilt in our system anywhere. I also forgot to mention some clubs are using, instead of middle of the green, they're using pin locations to change the location of the pin, every day or a few times a week. If you have the front, middle, back distance enabled, it will show the pin location instead of the middle. So you get front, pin, and back. I think we will wrap it up there. Thank you all, and I'll speak to you soon.